On June 7, 1944, he stormed the beaches in Normandy, where he saw his close friend killed in action. He was awarded the Purple Heart and 6 Bronze Service Stars. He met General Dwight D. Eisenhower. He sailed home in 1945, where the love of his life anxiously awaited his safe return. Meet Gordon Browning Grooms. Real people, real heroes. Life Care Centers of America.
Oh, Sheri. It's Sheri. Great.
Come on in. Hi. Hi.
Skyview Farms over in Pleasanton, Kansas.
I brought you some cheese.
Well, great. We're going to need it for some recipes today. Come on over.
We'd like to say buon appetito from the Locavore kitchen.
Ciao.
Welcome to Casa Somerset and the Locavore kitchen. We're here today with Sheri Nofke from the Skyview Farms. And Sheri, would you like to tell us just a little bit about Skyview Farms?
Thank you. We're located in Pleasanton, Kansas.
Pleasanton. I never even knew that it was there until about a month ago when Christine and I went to that event with Slow Food, and it was up in the city at the cellar route. And then we met you, and it's, oh, I tasted your cheeses. It's like, wow.
Well, we're not too far from the city. We're right off 69 Highway, so we're not too far from you.
Right.
It didn't take me too long to get here. We have a small farm. We have 80 acres, and we're a pasture-based dairy farm.
Mm-hmm.
We have Jersey cows and Alpine goats. And so what we do is we make goat cheeses with the goat's milk. We make cow cheeses with the cow's milk. All those commingled. And so that's kind of unique in the state, for us in the state of Kansas. There's not too many dairies that have both their own cows and goats, and then they commingle the milk and make cheeses with the combination right there on the farm. Usually they import one milk with the other to make a commingled cheese. So.
Well, that's really a good local cheese. I'm glad to find a local cheese sourced, you know,
Right.
really, because it's really super. I'm going to soften some sun-dried tomatoes I have softened here, and I'll let you, Christine, and you talk about the cheeses, and I'm going to take and work on these a little bit.
Okay.
Sheri, I've softened these sun-dried tomatoes in a skillet. I'm going to chop them up and dice them up a little bit here, and then I'm going to mix some of your incredible goat cheese here, the soft cheese. Tell me about how this cheese is made here.
Well, this one is a fresh cheese. It means it's not aged. It starts off with some raw goat's milk, and then you heat it to about 80 degrees, and you add a culture and just a little bit of diluted rennet. And then you let it sit for about 18 hours, and a curd forms. It's really a simple cheese to make, and all you do is just put it in a butter muslin cheesecloth, which is basically a pillowcase weave. You could just use a pillowcase and let the whey drain out of it until it gets the proper thickness. So there's really nothing really complicated about making this cheese. There's no salt added or anything, so you can add your own herbs and spices. It takes a lot. You can go sweet or you can go savory with this.
Now I'll take the cheese, just put it in a bowl for a minute here. And I'll take these sun-dried tomatoes I diced up, put them in there. And then we just take the spatula and mix these together. And not just so simple. And then if I do that, see that, and this will have a lot of flavor, and this will be a real good dip for a party or whatever you want to use it for. We'll have 2 different ramekins, so if I want to put them on 2 different plates, and something for a person. I'll get them about the same in there.
Many times in a recipe book they will call for goat cheese, and but they don't tell you which kind. So there's soft goat cheese, and then there's hard goat cheese. And this one is usually the kind of cheese that they're talking about when they call for goat cheese. They're usually asking for this soft chev.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pop this in the oven. I think it's gonna be great. It'll be in there about 5 minutes, and I'll put it at about 400 degrees. Okay, this'll be real wonderful. We'll have some with some crackers in a little bit.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So Mike, you're gonna make arancini de riso, which is a rice ball, but here at Casa Somerset, we like to do it into a patty because it's an easier item to cook and also to, for our customers, our guests, to eat.
Right, and this is just risotto we had last night that was left over. So we want to use everything, we want to be sustainable, so I'm going to put it in here. Put in 2 cups of risotto, and I'm going to add a half a cup of breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to add 2 eggs. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit here. Get it going, get the eggs, because the eggs will bind it a little bit, and they'll bring in there with the risotto, and that way I'm using fresh eggs. I love free-range eggs, and you got chicken down there.
We do.
How many chickens you got?
We have about 87 chickens.
Ooh, 87, wow.
And they're
You got
wonderful.
some eggs.
Yes, we do. They like to eat our cheese scraps. When we have them, when we cut them up and take the rinds off of them, the chickens eat the rinds. You know, people think that pigs eat anything, but no, chickens eat anything.
Chickens do.
Chickens eat anything.
Yes, they will.
I just noticed that you have the natural rind on one side.
Okay.
And
So you don't want to
so you
break that.
don't want to grate that.
No, but I'll take and grate some of this cheese, because the cheese has so much flavor to everything. You know, and this cheese here, you know, I've had it already, and I think, wow, this is great cheese. And this is going to add a lot to this recipe here.
I think everything's better with cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Whenever my kids would not eat their dinners when they were little, we used to say, well, we'll put a little cheese on it and, you know, ketchup, whatever.
Yeah.
Cheese was usually what did it.
Well, and you got your kids started on good food early? Well, I know you were telling me before, your husband from Wisconsin, but he's not the cheese maker, and Wisconsin's a big cheese state.
Right, and we lived, I didn't live in Wisconsin, but he lived in Wisconsin, and he was a builder of log homes up there, but he never really was part of dairying at all.
I'm gonna add just a little bit more breadcrumbs, because you gotta kind of look at your risotto and that to see if it's wet or dry. You want it to get a little bit dry here, and this, so this is coming together good now. It's coming together pretty good. And then I'm gonna add another cup of breadcrumbs in the bowl here, and I'm gonna add a little bit of Italian seasoning to them to kind of bring Italy into it with this. Oh, okay. Well, now I've got this made up like this, so I'm going to make it into kind of a ball, and like this, and turn it in like that. And I got your delicious cheese in there, and it's like a Parmesan. So what I'll do now is I'll put it in here, and I'll roll some breadcrumbs. Yeah, the Caponetti's got me started on this when I went over to Italy about 17, 18 years ago. And I'm going to turn on the heat here, so I'm going to use their olive oil and get it going a little bit, and we'll saute these so they're like golden brown. Then we'll have some. Maybe we'll have a little bit to eat. Tell me a little bit more about your cheese making, and your daughter is a goat person to take care of the goat.
Well, it started with my oldest daughter bought her 2 goats to milk as a 4-H project, and then what would happen is she milked the goats, and then I sold the goat's milk to my customers. Well, when she went to college, then she sold her goats to my son and my youngest daughter, so that was their goat business for a while. And now it's just my youngest daughter. She milks all the goats, and then I give her a portion of the proceeds, so that now she's going to be graduating from high school, so we'll have to find somebody else to
Well, maybe,
do the goats
you know,
soon.
well, I love hearing the family all into it. They all understand what's going on, and
Exactly.
they appreciate good local food, you know, especially
That's
the one you produce, you know, because, I mean, I just think of that. I mean, you eat seasonally from what you said. You know, tell me a little bit about how your family eats.
Well, we've always had a big garden too, but normally you think that your meat is what you do your meal planning around, but actually at our family, it's whatever seasonal vegetables. If the asparagus is ready, you think, well, what can I make? You can't make a soup, and well, I guess you could make asparagus soup, but you make a meal that you can have your vegetable with it, and or if you have mushrooms that need to be used, or whatever, you kind of plan around the vegetables or whatever's in season. The meat's usually in the freezer, so you can change
Right.
that.
So, no, that's interesting because, you know, you think about our great-grandparents, they never ate a tomato in January.
No.
You know, they had to eat, or they had to be able to store it however it was going to be. You know, and that's the important thing, is figuring out how you're going to store the food. I don't want to crowd these too much. I'll get them started here. Get them golden. And so where do you think you're going to go from here? Are you going to start any new cheeses you got on the works?
Well, we do have some other cheeses in our cheese cave aging. Of course, it takes about 2 months for them to finish aging. So we might try a new recipe, and then we don't know for 2 months if it turned out. So we have one, a commingled Monterey Jack that we're calling Sky Jack. And we have some Colbys and Goudas and a couple other things that are in the cheese cave now. So we'll see.
Well, it's interesting. I know the day I went down there to the farm and I said your daughter was out there feeding the kids and you and your husband, and I just thought, wow, this is a slow food family.
Yes.
This is what slow food's about, is the small farmers, the small producer, you know. It's wanting to get you on the shows, but I thought, well, this is one of the best cheeses in the area, you know.
Well,
and
it's healthy too. I mean, we use organic grains and we don't use antibiotics or hormones or any of those things. And so, you know, we don't get quite as much milk as your commercial dairy, but the milk that we do get is really good. And this time of year when the cows are on lush pasture, the cheeses come out really bright, and it's so healthy for you when they're eating the pasture. The winter cheese is okay, but we try to have the cows have their calves in the spring so that we don't have to make as much cheese in the wintertime when the milk isn't as good.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I was reading that in this book, Folks This Ain't Normal, and he was talking about you can't really make, the cheesemakers really don't make cheese hardly with winter milk and that, because the goats, and I'm waiting to make this gnocchi recipe with goat's milk, but I wanted to wait until they were eating the grass again, and they were getting out there running loose and eating the grass, so I get all that flavor in it. And I know that really, they talk about, especially the goats, that if you have goats out there, and you can tell if they ate mint. You can tell what the goat ate by. You have any stories on that?
Well, you know, our cows have access to pasture, but the goats, we kind of control more what they're eating, because they will eat poison ivy and rose bushes. They'll nibble whatever you're wearing. I mean, they won't eat the shirts off the line, but they will nibble on them for sure. And so you kind of have to control what they eat better, keep them separated from the billy goats, because goat's milk is a very delicate milk. It's easily digestible, and but when you're making cheese with it, you have to be very careful. The curds are very delicate. It makes for a very delicate milk, but you have to be careful with it, or you lose all of your milk solids. But also you have to, they're kind of like mushrooms, they absorb flavors. Well, the goat's milk will absorb flavors as well. So you have to kind of control what they're eating.
Well, let's hold that thought, and we're going to take a commercial break from Locavore Kitchen.
It was love at first flight, her first flying lesson in 1944. She was among the first American women to earn a helicopter pilot's license. No woman living has trained more pilots, flown and logged more hours, given more FAA exams, or received more awards. The courage and determination to pursue her dream has truly left a mark in the sky. Meet Evelyn Johnson. Real people, real heroes.
Okay, well, everything looks wonderful. I'm very excited.
Well, we're ready to try some of your cheese and that. You got the risotto cakes, you got your goat cheese with a sun-dried tomato, and we have your cheese here. We're gonna have to taste that for sure. And we have some local wine from Middle Creek Winery, and so I think it's time to eat, have a little bit of taste. And we worked hard today. It's so great to have you here from Skyview Farms over in Pleasanton.
Well, Sheri, thanks very much for joining us. It was a real pleasure, and the food's great. So from MCTV, Casa Somerset, and the Locavore Kitchen, we'd like to say buon appetito. Ciao.
Ciao.